How do you get filthy rich? How are some people so rich and continue to make so much money? How are people so rich in our world? This is what used to go through my head before I started my businesses. I used to think, how can people afford a $200,000 car? How can they afford a $10,000 watch? How can people afford these things? How is that possible? Until I opened my eyes and realized that what the rich are doing is not as difficult as what the poor and the middle class do. My name's Nate Jones. I run multiple businesses. My main business, I run an insurance agency, and I started this business a little over 4 years ago. Since then, my net worth is it's gone up exponentially. I'm worth over millions of dollars, and I'm on my way to become probably the first billionaire in my family. And I post YouTube videos about different things to get you to the next level. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 things that the super rich do that you need to do if you want to become rich. So the first thing they do is they are willing to bet on themselves. Every rich person I know took a risk on themselves. They wanted to start the business. They wanted to be in a career path where they can control their own money, their own destiny. Usually that's sales, right? They take a sales job where if they close a lot of money, they make a lot of money. Basically, that what they're doing aligns their efforts. If they put in a lot of effort and they execute and they do really well, they reap the rewards. That's betting on yourself. So they take opportunities where they're able to bet on themselves. They constantly bet on themselves. They don't rely on other people, because if they rely on other people, then they know that other people are going to look out for their own best interests. So they know that, hey, if I bet on myself, I will find success. Number 2, their risk appetite, their willingness to take risk is so much higher than the average person, that they know that the alternative, working for somebody else for 40 years, sitting in a company, sitting in a cubicle, you get your little 5% raise every single year, that is not going to lead to the life that they want. So their risk appetite, they go, I'm willing to risk it all. I can always go back to the office. I can always go get a basic job. But if I take this opportunity to start this business, to make this investment, to take this job, and it does work out, the upside of that is so much higher than the downside of me staying where I'm at. So they know that they have to continue to take risk, and their risk appetite is so much higher because they understand that at the end of their life, they don't want the regret. They don't want to be sitting on their deathbed and they're wondering, what if I would have started that business? What if I would have taken that job? What if I would have gone after something instead of playing it safe my entire life? Number 3, rich people have ownership and equity in businesses. And what that means is, if you look at the richest people, I don't even have to prove it. Just start thinking. Richest people, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, they all own something. They own companies. And their net worth is attributed to the companies that they own. So Amazon's worth tons of money, probably one of the first $1 trillion companies. Facebook, same thing, Meta. And these companies are worth so much money, and the ownership that they have in those companies makes their net worth jump. And then the retained earnings that they make from the companies, the dividends, and all that stuff, that's how they make the most amount of money. You will not become a billionaire, multimillionaire over $10 to $15 million unless you own businesses. Okay, you own businesses, and what they do after that, they usually put the money that they make in those businesses into real estate or other ownership assets like stocks and things like that. But they own things, and that's how their wealth continues to soar and goes up. Okay, so they have ownership and equity. So entrepreneurs usually are the most wealthiest people in our world. It's not the doctors. The doctors don't have ownership. They get their little paycheck and then they put the rest of it in a 401k. You take an entrepreneur versus a doctor, entrepreneurs make way more money. So you want ownership in a business to make money. Number 4, the most rich people, most successful people in our world, they constantly are furious about buying back their time. They do not want to waste time. They pay people to mow their yard. They pay people to make them lunch and dinner. They have a maid. They have cleaners. They pay somebody to wash their car. They lease cars. They're constantly thinking of ways, what are some things that are costing me time? They have virtual assistants, they have administrative assistants, they have people that plan their travel. They constantly have people that are doing things for them so they can focus their time and effort on the things that make them the most amount of money and the things that make them the most amount of enjoyment in their life. They want to spend time with their families, and if they're running all these different businesses, they don't have time to get into the details. They pay people to do that. So one thing that I've done is I've created, one of my companies is called Contractor Back Office. We provide virtual assistants for business owners, and as little as $700 a month, you can get a virtual assistant for 4 hours a day that knows English, that can help you out with your calendar, email, bookkeeping, whatever you need that virtual assistant to do. I tell every entrepreneur that I talk to, that I coach, that I have monthly meetings with, I say, who can you hire next? And if you don't have an administrative assistant or a virtual assistant for $700 a month, your business can literally get to the next level by having somebody help you out, look at your calendar, ask you constantly, what can I help you out with? Because if that person saves you 30 minutes to an hour a day, and then eventually they save you 2 hours a day, look at that 2 hours. You're an entrepreneur. You're a creative type person. That's what entrepreneurs are. And if you can give yourself back 2 hours a day and you don't waste that 2 hours, but you actually think about creative ways to make more money, it is insane. When we give entrepreneurs, when I help people out, help entrepreneurs get their time back, it's crazy the opportunities that they come up with, because if you have an entrepreneur just sit still, they can't sit still. They got to create something. They got to find something to do. And it's amazing that when you give these people back their time, they start making more money in their business, or they create another business. So I'll have a link in the bio to where you can go to our website and click on our website and reach out for more information if you want to look into one of our virtual assistants. Number 5, they rinse and repeat. They constantly are taking they're willing to bet on themselves over and over again. They're constantly taking new risks. They're buying new ownership assets, starting new businesses, and they're continuing to hire people to make their life easier. So if you want to get really rich, you want to become successful, these are the 5 things you need to do. This is it. I mean, it's committing to it. It's understanding that, hey, there's a proven playbook out there that these guys have left, and that all you have to do is open your eyes and say, hey, if I am willing to commit and make the decision, make that first step, and continue to follow these directions that all the billionaires, they've left crumbs of how they've done it, and you take those crumbs and you do it yourself, you will find success. So as always, like and subscribe, and in the bio below I'll have a link to our virtual assistant company if you'd like to reach out about a virtual assistant.